Whoop, I have another crazy hairdo today. Hey, it's Bridget Lynn Dolgoff, Conscious of Economics and Urban Farm Project. Anyway, I was going to do a couple videos today. Today, I was just, last couple of days, I've really been thinking about veterans, combat veterans and veterans, like in the military. And, I've come to some conclusions about that. My dad who raised me was in World War II. He was like 25 years older than my mom. Um, and, we kind of fought a lot when I was growing up, but, I was kind of secretive and doing, teenager stuff and getting into big trouble. And he just didn't really want me to go down the path of traditional kind of women. He wanted me to get an education and continue to educate myself and not have to rely on anyone or a man or relationship or so I didn't have to compromise myself or be obligated. And the thing that he really, freaked him out was dating boys and end up pregnant and not have been able to use my mind, and he was really huge about using my own critical thinking and problem solving abilities and not just doing what other people told me to do. His thing when he'd get mad at me and yell at me, because he had serious post-traumatic stress disorder. He was a private through the military, but he was like one of the top snipers. And he was like, I don't know if I've talked on videos before, but he was zero patriotic. And he always wore guns, like, John Wayne style guns growing up. So it's interesting to talk to people who were not raised with guns or were around guns or knives. I mean, I think I shot my first like BB gun or whatever when I was like 7 and had knives, like I had my first big fish gutting knife on my own holster, as early as I could remember. I mean, we'd bring the fish in sometimes, like we'd do huge family camping events where there was good fishing. We used to go to Jackson Hole, Wyoming as a whole family group, like a big group, my grandparents and aunts and uncles and my parents and us. And we're pretty much the only two kids were me and my little sister at that time. And then, we would go to like Wild Horse Reservoir, Twin Lakes. These are here kind of in Nevada, Wild Horse Reservoir. And Twin Lakes is up by Bridgeport. So we would do these huge like family camping excursions, and we weren't wealthy, but we all loved, to fish and hunt. And my great grandfather was a huge hunter. Even when he was old, he could break a trail straight up the hill and kill us all. And because not very many men were like actually born into our family because of the women ancestry and bloodline, mostly it was only women. So we always kind of had tough men, that, could live off the land or whatever else. And they taught us a lot how to be kind of pioneering women or tough women. So one of the things about my dad that raised me, he was a true Renaissance man. And maybe one of the kindest, compassionate, tender people of all time. And to this day, if I'm going to date somebody, I put him up against, my dad that raised me. How do you not? And my entire family, has been dead for quite a while. I think my dad that raised me has been dead since 99. So I've had a lot of time to really think about this. And I think that people, besides the draft, and we're just talking in general, but I'm pretty sure that most people who go into the military are empaths. They have empathic abilities. They can feel anything that's around them at any given time. And so they live in a complicated world. I'm an empath. And I've spent a lot of my life trying to figure out if I feel is right or what I'm seeing is right, because usually sometimes it's two different types of things. And being an empath, you naturally want to help other people. You want to help the earth. You want to help the water. You want to help wherever you can help. You're willing to like surrender your life for the greater good of all, easily and effortlessly. Just hard to find a job that fits. And I think sometimes a lot of people that end up in the military are people that tried to use their empathic abilities and gifts to make the world a better place, but they were always considered so highly unusual and strange, because we really want to participate with the world, and we really want to help the world, and we really want to help a lot of these things, but nobody will ever really give us the opportunity because of how we feel things. We feel the truth. And sometimes you can't put that into words. So hold on, let me call my dog. I'm in here with the two cats. I'm calling the dog. The cats roll. Yeah, poor dog. Anyway, so I've been wanting to talk about this for a while, that I think what happens is you have the most tenderest people as a bulk that enter the military because it's the only place that they, look at all these commercials, help your country, serve, your people. That's just right up an empath's alley. Wow, I can have a job and I can help people. And then it never really turns out that way. It's kind of, I think that the government knows, that the empaths, they're going to be a little bit more people pleasing, and because they want to get to the part where they can help other people. But then I think why you see a lot of what military might call treasonous behavior from veterans from the Iraq period is because they were empathic, and they went in and they started to put what they saw and what they felt together, and realizing that it's two totally different things. And they weren't really willing to participate in harming people, because that's really what they were setting up to do. And killing people. Sometimes I think, the empath goes in, they get a gun, and they think, great, now I can really protect people. But then they're trained and taught and forced to use it to harm people. And for an empath, that has to be like the worst possible betrayal of self and God. And no wonder a lot of them have such bad post-traumatic stress disorder. Because they truly, truly, with their whole heart, approached going into the military to do the highest and greatest for the earth and all the people on earth and the animals and everything else. And everything that they were sold said that. And then what happens is that it was totally turned against them. And then they were forced into a situation where they had to betray themselves. They had to betray their heart. They had to betray the planet. They had to betray all the animals. They had to betray all the people, the children, the women, the mothers, the fathers. And I think it kind of fractures you as an empath. It'd be better to have been shunned by the world and live kind of in isolation and trying to find your way than to have gone into the military as an empath. A tender baby green, they trample easy When you're farming, the tender baby green that pushes up, it's the moment that anything can go wrong, and change whether the plant lives or doesn't live. If it bolts early in seeds, or if it lives a super, super long time thriving. Um, just that tender baby green is that one moment that, you if you destroy it, it's pretty hard to change forever. So I just kind of wanted to talk about that a little bit, about post traumatic stress disorder and military and empaths. And um, I think this is why a lot of veterans end up homeless, because um, they've been lied to and betrayed, and because of how they feel, and they feel everything so incredibly more than other people, they just can't really trust. And um, because they have that fractured part in them, of the worst kind of betrayal that could ever be. Now, saying that, I also think that people who make it to higher ranks, in the military, are psychopaths and egomaniacs and narcissists, and kind of everything relates back to themselves and control and manipulation, which is a very reptilian thing. And so you have these reptilians, like, whether they're human or real reptilians, but they're in a reptilian thinking in the left hemisphere, domination. And then they're dealing with all these little baby tender green empaths who are very right brain oriented, very connected in the moment, very connected to their heart and their feeling centers. And they're screaming and yelling at them, and all these other things to kind of train them, right? Um, yeah, it's a pretty crazy system, isn't it? But anyway, for all you military personnel who, um, I feel you every day as an empath, and I feel your journey. And I, having grown up with a beautiful father who raised me, who had serious post traumatic stress disorder, I just want you to know that I'm out here and I'm working for you, and trying to create veteran combat farms where we can take your empathic abilities and we can rechannel them into nature and soil, and working with animals and natural systems, so that you can rehabilitate the planet, and you don't have to have a lot of contact with society. And the tools that you have as empaths, and your abilities to feel and sense, um, would just be such a benefit in restoring this planet to a more pristine place. So if you get a chance to put some good energy in my bank account, um, just know that I'm doing the right thing, and trying to move this stuff forward as much as I can. There's a piece of property that I really, really want. Um, it's a property that I've looked at for years and years and years, and I'd really love to restore it. And I'd really love for it to be my first combat location for reskilling combat veterans using their empathic abilities for nature, um, and being able to help them in that journey. 2-year apprentices, and then we send you back to your home to figure out what you can restore there, and what you can grow there, and what you can help with there in your communities. The property is an area that should not be developed. It would be so sad if somebody else got a hold of this property and developed it and put $1 million homes on it. It would just be a travesty. And it would be the first property that I would actually be hands on restoring, fully and completely back to the earth, and kind of living in community with the animals and nature and all of that, in a restoration process back to pristine while growing lots of food, replacing the forest with a food forest, and utilizing animals to do the work like aeration of soil and rototilling. We would take the pigs out to different parts and have them start aerating the soil and rototilling it so it'll retain more water. And then it would help them to clean up any extra plants or bugs or anything like that that may be harmful. And then, we send our chickens and ducks out and turkeys and let them clean it up a little bit and get rid of some of the bugs. And then, we have a few cows and lactating cows, and because we're all about the biodynamic, milking cow and her poo-poo medicine that is like the best poo-poo medicine there is on the planet. And get these animals out stomping on the dirt and pooping on it and getting it back to more of a soil, helping the sterility in it while we're planting and fixing and curing and working together as a team. So if you have serious post-traumatic stress disorder that you are having a hard time managing, drugs and all that stuff is not going to help you because you're an empath. And the only people that are going to understand you and help you on your journey are people who are empaths as well, who can help you to kind of sort out all of the confusion that's going on inside of you and helping you to rechannel that information. I see a lot of homeless vets. Really concerns me because it's easier to be homeless because it's all so complicated and confusing what's going on. And in order to be able to feel, you have to walk away from, your families and jobs, and because your feeling and what you see and hear is not relating at all, because you are empath, so you have different sensories that act naturally. And so then there's drinking and drugs to close those sensories off, because you don't really know how to use them in a good way. And it's more upsetting to have them turned on than off. Okay, that's what I have to say about that today. I'm thinking about it a lot. And like I said, I'm working towards some kind of solution in honor of my dad. Who I miss. Oh, to me, he's like one of the greatest men that ever lived. So anyway, with that, I hope you have a great day. It's Bridget Lindahl Goff, Conscious of Economics and Urban Farm Project. Have a great day.